On with the show. This morning we're talking to 4 speakers. This afternoon we have Twitch and Wolfsbane. But first we're going to meet with Activision Blizzard, Mate, Globe Telecom, and SPORTFIVE. But we are going to start with the publisher, and that is Pelle Sjoenell, the Chief Creative Officer of Activision Blizzard. Pelle, welcome to the Gaming Masters Academy. It's great to see you. Now you're on from where I am right now. You're on the other side of the planet. Please give us a little bit of information. Who are you? Where are you? What do you do for Activision Blizzard? Because it's a pretty cool job.
Thank you, Jesper. I'll start with what I am. I'm very honored to be here. This is exciting, and learning does matter. I think that's in these evolving times and evolving industries. Pelle Sjoenell is a Swedish name. My accent is probably the same too. I work as Chief Creative Officer of Activision Blizzard. That also owns King. So our big titles are Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Overwatch that I have here behind me, Diablo, Candy Crush, and many, many more. My job as Chief Creative Officer is, if I was a gaming character, my spell or my trick that I could do is I could control and steer creativity around the virtual corridors of a big company to see where it's needed, see where it's great, connect it with each other, and raise the bar where it's needed, and learn.
That's fantastic. As I said, it is a really cool job. So what do your family think you do for a living?
Well, this is I was before this I was in advertising, and my kids when we were watching TV or sports or something like that, when it's time for an ad, they turn to me and go, "Really? Is this what you do?" And now I have risen in popularity a lot with my kids who love playing games. But I don't think, who knows what they're doing? I think if you really, really know what you're doing, you should be on to something else.
Fantastic. So today we're talking about the relationship between brands and gaming, gamers, whether that's esports, gaming, casual games, whatever. And you've got a huge amount of experience from, as you're saying, from the publisher side, but also from the agency side as well. Can you give us any case histories of brand partnerships that you've worked with?
Yes. Recently we did some I thought it was really fun thing, and a great way of utilizing our platforms was this was for Call of Duty for Warzone, which is our free-to-play platform that has about 100 million people playing day in and day out. And we launched a new map, which was called the Caldera, which is a new map and a new place for players to explore. And while we did that, we partnered with Heinz Ketchup, who obviously would love to help all these players to eat while they're exploring the new map. So we did hidden spots, which is we gave or Heinz helped tell players where they could hide and eat if they needed to take a little break while exploring the new map. So that was a really fun way, I think, for a brand to be part of the game as opposed to interrupting the game and adding to the fun. And I think those are important things to add, is to understand how players think, which is very different than how usual kind of consumers of media think.
So I mean, that's brilliant case history there. But how would someone like Heinz measure? And you're making me hungry, by the way. But how would someone like Heinz measure success in something like that?
I thought you wanted to play the game.
But we can.
Yeah. It's pretty simple, to be honest. Is that we have on our platforms some of the most sought after groups of people on the planet, young people, who spend a lot of time and money and are really hard to reach because they don't fall for the usual tricks. So if you can reach our audiences that are, I mean, we have across our games, our platforms, we have about 500 million players. It's huge, you know. So if you think about something like an activity like that, probably, well, let's think about it. I don't want to go into economics, but like think about how much it costs to do something at the Super Bowl for what is kind of a minute at a time of an activity like that for a week, you know, or something. Is I don't think anyone has done a Super Bowl week-long spot yet. So it's obviously about reaching the audience. It's about also understanding or get understanding from people who play that Heinz gets it, you know, or that Call of Duty and Heinz are friends and they're having some fun together with some creative ideas on what to do around the game. So it's affiliation, association. It's but it's also innovation. You know, it's not easy nowadays to innovate in media, and there's so many forums, and this is a very captured audience, very excited, but very different audience. I think that's why I brought that example up, is because it understands what's going on, why people are there and what they're doing.
So in that instance, the brand is being useful.
Exactly. I think that's so. Think of it like this: the difference between communicating on television or 2D media, meaning that you cannot interact with it, is that, and that, you know, that works. You can. So let's go back to the Super Bowl as an example. Everyone in the audience who's watching the game, we're currently communicating to them by interrupting the game or by buying, you know, space with our brands on certain things around it. That's okay, but those are not the people who are playing. So the equivalent would be to run down during the game, stop the game, and say, yeah, you know, those to the players who are playing Super Bowl, and say, wait, I've got something really awesome to sell you. Can we talk about that right now? And obviously it's not the right time because they are active, they're playing, they're not an audience, they are players. They're not passive, they're active. It's really really changed the dynamic, and it needs to, and that's very exciting for communication, because it's always in you know, in the new ground that the new exciting things happen.
And so usually, I think it used to be. I mean, you mentioned kind of the 2D and the TV. You know, the old school. Old school.
It's. I wouldn't want to call it old school, because we're also seeing, you know, enormous success and people binging TV shows and having a great time at that. It's just that it's a different dynamic, and I think that's what makes it important. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I don't want to say that this is the only way. It's just that this way is different.
Yeah, you know, it used to be that the commercial team for a media company would go out to the brands, and it seems at the moment the brands are coming to the gaming industry. And why we're doing sessions like this is to help brands understand how to talk to people like you, Pelle. But what should the brands be thinking when they want to come and work with you, especially when it comes to things like esports and licensing and stuff? I mean, it really is a different mindset, right?
Well, esports and licensing, I think, is more similar to where we were, because it is primarily communicating to those who are watching it. It's not really communicating to the players who are playing it. There are very few, and they're very well paid already, and they have already, you know, they have the commitment. So it's about the audience there. So I think I would say that most old rules apply when it comes to sponsorships of esports. I think what you need to do, though, is to figure out what is your which is your game? What game fits you? What is a good liaison with your brand? Overwatch, that's behind me here, is a lot about inclusivity, and it's about everyone can be a hero, and it's about doing good. If that's what your brand is, you just need to figure out what does it say for you to, like with any sponsorship, what does it say? What does the affiliation mean? And then I think in general for gaming, not only for esports, but to for brands to approach game is, what are you good at? Ask yourself, what are you good at? I'll give you an example. Gucci is doing really good at this already. And it's because they're continuing what they are good at, which is fashion. And they're extending their products into virtual goods in the gaming world. They don't see it as a place to market their existing products. They see it as a new marketplace. And that's a huge shift. It's an extension of business, not necessarily of only marketing. So what are you good at? If I'm an insurance company and I sell life insurance, I would start giving away extra lives in games. Because I understand that players want some of those because they keep trying to win. And so I just think that's, you have to think of what can you add to the game or to the player. How can you make the game better, and how can you make that? And we trust brands in this world to be good at what they do in the other worlds. Like any good brand would know what their purpose is, what they're good at, what they add to the equation of their people who love their products, and extend that love into there. But it needs to change. It's not no, I'm going to exaggerate now, but none of them really likes the advertising. So it's not really the advertising that you're a fan of. You're a fan of the brand and of the products. So extend that, and let's try to figure out a way to not make the mistake I think was made in some ways for brands when it came to digitizing, going on to YouTube and social media and things where we just made more ads. So I'll give you an example quick, which is, have you seen the first TV commercial in the US ever? It's for a watch brand. It's back in the 50s. And it's basically a picture of a watch and a like a radio spot, someone saying, you should really buy this watch. It's the best, But basically they were mimicking the old media, radio, to be what the next media was, which was television, which is a completely different thing, right? So I think that's what's happening now. That's the mistake, is to look at this new medium is probably like the old one. And it isn't. And you have to figure it out and think of why people are there and what they love doing.
And to do that, they need to talk to people like you. Who else do you think is getting it right? I mean, you mentioned Heinz, you mentioned Gucci, some huge brands, and they're not endemic, what would be typically thought of as endemic brands, right?
No, I mean, I think when you have a clear, like working with breweries are good at this. Portfolio brands like AB InBev or other big ones, they usually have, at least when I work with them a lot on the advertising side, they have an occasion driven sometimes. Like, when is this beer right? This one is for the beach. It's calm down. It's cool. It's that. Another one is for the fancy. Another one is the the sports one. So when you already have that clarity in what your product is providing and where your classic positioning is, then look at how games are being played. Play the games, enjoy them, and see how it works. It's not too hard. It seems hard. I'm not good at it. I'm good at Candy Crush, but not at any other one. But see what the environment is and think about what you can add there with what you are. So I think there is I wouldn't say that there's like the good ones and the bad ones, really. I think it's this beautiful time of not fully figured out, and some have been. I think it's classic fail fast, do it a lot, and see and learn from it.
Fantastic. And look, so final question for you, Pelle, because aside to all the conversation we're having here about brands and the relationship with, for what's really exciting for you right now? What does the future look like for you and for Activision Blizzard, and where's it all going?
Well, there's a lot of movement, I would say, in the virtual space. What is exciting to me is the good that we can do, that we have found. There's a lot of things that we have to figure out, that we need to do right, toxicity in games and those types of things that are responsibilities we have. But the opportunities are to connect people, to help people travel places they could never go to create camaraderie, to make people feel progress in life. Progress is something that every game has a natural loop, that you always know what level you are and what's next. But regular life, we don't know when our next promotion is or what's going to happen around the corner. And a lot of these things that are fantasies and dreams that we all deserve to feel more, you can actually feel in these games, because you're in it. You're in the movies. You're making the movies, so to speak. You're the one. The songs are being written about and sung. So it's like, I think there is so much that we can do. A lot of things that we have to do right, but a third of the planet is currently playing, and I think it's not going to be less anytime soon. And that comes with huge responsibility, but also enormous opportunity, and to make people have a lot of fun.
So Pelle, thank you so much. I mean, it's always wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for giving us the time. And what we were talking about is be a part of the game, weave yourself into the game, be useful, make the game better, have fun. The gaming community is hard to reach, but make the brand your friend. You talked about affiliation, talked about association. Sometimes the old rules still do apply, but really understand what's your game. What as a brand, what are you good at? And I love this idea of fail fast, learn, do it again, do it again, do it again. But really, the end message there is that the opportunity is huge. Opportunity rocks. Pelle, Sjoenell, thank you so much for joining us all the way from the US today. We look forward to hopefully seeing you in Singapore live 26th to 28th of September at All That Matters. But thank you for joining.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jasper. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. So up next at the Gaming Masters Academy, we are going to meet with 3 more speakers. We have the brand, we have the platform, and we have the agency. So please say hello to Victor Wang, who's the CEO of Mate Mate. We have Ralph Aligada, who's from Telecom, who's the head of all things esports over there. And we have Yusuf Batliwala, who's an old friend of mine, ex of Singtel, but now working for SPORTFIVE as their director of rights holder management. So we're gonna talk to Ralph and Yusuf in a bit, but first we're going to talk to Victor. Victor, thank you so much for joining us at the Gaming Masters Academy this morning. You are the brand, so tell us a little bit more about who are you, where are you in the world, and same question I was asked for Pelle. What do your family think you do for a living?
Good morning, everyone, and hi from Singapore. Jasper, thank you so much. It's a honor being here. I am the CEO and co-founder of a natural energy drink, Mate Mate, based in Singapore, headquartered in Singapore. So I we're running this amazing natural energy drink brand. That's that simple as it sounds. Our connection with esports actually started 1 year ago. We're a fairly new brand, and we're still there's a lot of work to do. But I feel that the energy drink and esports are it's an inevitable part of esports energy drink. So we started in 1 year ago. The disaster which happened for the last 2 years that we can't say by name because of YouTube policies actually accelerated our entry in the esports field. So when we started our brand in 2016, we started development of our brand. Primarily, we developed the brand for the music industry. So that was our primary initial focus. Unfortunately, the music industry was closed for the last 2 years. So we had an opportunity to try and see if we can reach the audience in the esports space. So we find a partner in the US in June last year that helped us to try to test the water on a few big tournaments in Asia and the United States. And Dota 2, that was our first events that we tried, and it was amazing. We felt the opportunity in this space. We liked the response of audience towards our brand and what we do. And since then, we've been actively investing in participating in some of the very well-known global tournaments. Moving forward, we've actually decided that we will make our brand a primarily well fit for the esports communities. So how we did that, we've we got a lot of inspiration from the esports as well, because we got a great feedback in terms of design and taste and functionality. So next month, actually in a few weeks, we're having a relaunch or rebranding of our product line. And this is primarily based on feedback from the esports communities and esports viewers and gamers from around the world. So we use as an inspiration, and we like the opportunities and potential that esports brings. It's huge. We like the way we could access markets and audiences around the world by not being able to travel for the last 2 years. For a brand that is new, and we're still looking to globalize esports, we find it to be one of the most potential channel for us. So that's in short who we are and where we are, and our relationship, young relationship with esports space worldwide.
Fantastic. So Victor, we have a video, a mate video, just to show. Let's have a look and see what. It's a little bit of fun here.
All right.
This is so sick.
Can we just go back to playing games now?
That's cool. And as Pelle said in the last session, be fun, right? And that's a lot of fun.
Exactly. So how we came out with this video? So we started last year. We've been the official partner sponsor for the qualifiers of TI10. For the international for Dota 2, which was in July last year. So we felt that we had other brands which they participated in as official partners and sponsors, and we felt the commercials are a little bit dull, too serious, and so we spoke with our partners in the US. Can we create something fun that people really would love to watch? So we've been brainstorming, and we gave them a total flexibility. Just the guys, so they're great. They have a design team in the LA, and they work primarily with esports broadcasting, and they're quite strong in content as well. So we gave them full flexibility, just develop something which would be fun. They give me the script. We approved it fast. They were quite happy that they can use their ideas. So we developed this video. So when we first used it in, I think during the Smash Bros. One tournament we had in United States last year, the response was crazy. So we had a lot of interaction on Twitch we've never seen before. So usually people wouldn't comment on commercials or would not really even pay attention to them. Everyone would just. So made the videos and the commercials were one of the most talked about, and the agency also told us. So we've never seen anything like that before, because everyone's presenting two commercial advertisements and videos, which they're not really appealing for the gaming audience. It's like you have young youth, so you have a young audience that they're not really interested in a lot of serious stuff. Then we did another one, and it was even more crazy. So in general, this was something that we wanted to develop from the beginning when we created the brand. So we wanted to have a brand which delivers a fun experience to the audience. And if you look, even though as a product itself, we take it with utmost seriousness, and the way we develop the product, we try to, so our products are all natural. We put on healthy ingredients and high quality ingredients. But in terms of a product itself, a brand, I think it's very important to be fun and deliver a fun experience to audience. That's the most appealing, I think, nowadays. So that achieved definitely the goal, and we're going to continue to roll out a lot of fun content this year. We have some cool stuff in the pipeline coming out. We're going to be sharing with you soon.
Fantastic. So tell me how. I mean, you talked about some of the activities you support, like Dota 2 and the international and stuff. How do you measure? How would Mate measure success? Is it purely by sales, or are there other metrics you bring in?
Yeah, we're a little bit different because we are not. As I say, we're a new brand. We're a fairly small brand. Currently, we are selling in close to 20 countries, but we're still growing. So in esports, we entered rather early. So normally brands would go in esports with our scale of investment when they're already more mature. Talking about global brands that they have more budgets and stuff. So we diverted a lot of our budget in the esports a little bit early. As I say, the previous 2 years. Global situation accelerated our decision to enter this space. So because of that, we achieved a few things. One thing is to get first of all, is to reach the audience of esports, which is exactly what we wanted from the beginning. So young audience, digital native. They spend a lot of time online. Gamers. This was perfect for us. But we got feedback. So I remember last year during the summer and autumn, we've been pretty much shipping a lot. Giving away products worldwide. So because the tournaments, we had viewers from all over the world. So we put a lot of budget in just shipping giveaways and testing samples, and pretty much in 160 countries from Singapore. So what gave us? We got direct feedback on our product. We got how the audience view a brand, how they like it, they dislike it, what's good, what's bad. So that I consider already a success. I think that it's very few platforms or spaces that you can do that nowadays, because everything is offline. It takes time. There's a lot of logistics involved. When during the esports, we capitalized on that. It's all digital. It's instant in terms of reaching the audience. And we've used that momentum and we accessed so many countries. Based on that, then of course we collected all the data and feedbacks and start working on improving, redesigning, increasing our product range as well. So I think that's really valuable. It's a very valuable asset for us. Secondly, of course, success would be from a brand commercial point of view, globalization. So we are now in the stage of we are launching 7 new products starting from June. Currently, before this June, we've only had 1 product, and we've been promoting it, and we're increasing our range now to 7 products. And one range, it's a powder energy drink designed specifically for gamers. So we're going to release 3 flavors in June. I'm going to start activation specifically in the esports tournaments, events worldwide. So this is pretty cool. We made sure that all our products stay natural. We added one more health element to it, which we'll disclose pretty soon, the ingredients and in the marketing communication, which is coming within 1 month. So it was a very I think it was a good decision to work with esports. And plus, if you see, you already saw. I saw your team. I showed your team the new branding and the logo, which we have the mascot as part of the logo. The mascot, which was in the video, is going to be part of our logo trademark as well. So it's very there's a lot of opportunities we can play with. The brand, I would say, it's becoming more of a hybrid brand currently, because we have a physical product, which is energy drink with great functionality and some health benefits is natural. But also we tend to enter the metaverse and develop maybe the brand further into digital space and in the capitalizing on the new technology, blockchain technologies that are quite a trend currently.
Fantastic. So Victor, we're at the start of a new journey, but already you're recording a huge amount of success for MateMate. We're going to come back to you, and we're going to talk a little bit more about you. We've had a question actually for you from Mabel Yo from Tubular Labs about how you decide which tournaments and games, but we'll come back to that.
Sure.
So thank you, Victor. We're going to see you in about 10 minutes. Next,
Thank you
we're
so
going to
much.
move. I think we're going to go over to the Philippines to meet with Ralph Aligada. He's the head of games and esports for Globe Telecom. Come in, Ralph. Where are you?
Hey, Jasper.
Hey, Ralph.
Pleasant day to everyone all over the world.
Very good to see you. So Ralph, tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do. Tell us and how a telecom company is involved in
Sure.
gaming.
Well, I'm Ralph Aligada. I am the head of games and esports for Globe Telecom. We are the largest telco in the Philippines. Just trying to answer as well earlier when you said how do we explain to our families what we do for a living. If you ask my kids, they just think I play all day. But if you ask my wife or my mom, for that matter, both of them would think that this is the guy who troubleshoots, figures out where to invest Globe's sponsorship money, as well as figure out how we can earn revenue for the telco. We are basically somewhat endemic to games. I know some people would consider telco as not endemic to gaming, but because we are the primary connection to everybody. Like you can play games offline, but the value of social interaction within games is carried through by telco. It's the connectivity that we provide. It's the ability to have game experiences, good gaming experiences, by virtue of strong connections, where our value is really seen.
So obviously you produce your own tournament. What kind of games do you get involved in? Do you produce your own tournaments, or do you bring other people's how does it work?
Well, we approach things from a multitude of ways. The simplest would be to sponsor community level tournaments. That's the easy part, because really, once you have people approach you and say, "Hey, we have a small tournament. It's for like 64 teams, 32 teams. It's a small bracket. We just need your support. Help us with the internet. Help us with the prize pool." That's the easy stuff. But when it comes to really creating our own events tied to our brands, that's where we really get into the conversations with game publishers, as well as esports organizers, because there is a level of licensing that we have to get around with. We are partnered with Riot Games and Mineski for League of Legends Wild Rift and Valorant in the Philippines, as well as other game publishers for our own telco brands. Like we have a separate tournament for our value brand for prepaid. We also have a separate tournament for broadband. Obviously, that would be sticking to PC games like Valorant or Dota 2. So it really depends. How we generally approach it is we look at how many people play the game, how big the community is in the Philippines, and then we decide to sponsor based on, uh, obviously we have to do homework. Is the organizer well known? Because there are a lot of small organizers there that are very good, but they probably don't have the actual approvals or the licenses from the game publishers. So there's a lot to consider, but as a general approach, we always look at what games are relevant for our subscribers.
So you kind of wear. Am I right in saying you wear two hats? Sometimes you're the sponsor,
Mhm.
but sometimes you're the owner. So you're the poacher,
Right.
you're the gamekeeper, the buyer, the seller. How much of your time is
Exactly.
spent on each side? So when are you the sponsor and when are you the owner?
Being one of the more stable brands in esports, definitely there are more times that we talk to organizers and talk to brands, and they basically ask us for support, financial support, values and kind types of support. Uh, th- Practically 60% of the time, I'd say, would be based on that. In the Philippines, particularly, telcos really drive all of these events. The reason for that is that we're the ones with not just the connection but also the captured audience. You have to look at how many of the subscribers of a telco would actually be gamers. We have visibility on that, so how we integrate with our brands internally is something that we carefully study whenever we sponsor. Now, going to our own events, that is really handled by the brands that we handle themselves. So let's say if you go to our prepaid brands, where they comprise majority of our subscriber count, the approach would be very different. We would look at how can we differentiate this tournament from other tournaments, how or what degree of leeway do we have from the game publishers to actually integrate our brand into the tournament that we make. Can we make our own ads? Can we use the assets? Can we use um, the logos, the characters, everything that we can use to really drive our costs and promote our own telco products. That's actually the part where people don't realize we have to talk to game publishers and get their approvals. It's an ecosystem that's pretty much give and take. We help them promote the games, but they also have to allow us a degree of flexibility for that matter.
Fantastic. So what we're talking to you today is the brand, not the publisher.
Mhm.
Okay, we've had a publisher, we've had a brand. Let's have a second brand. So you're today you are the gatekeeper, not the poacher. Gamekeeper, not the poacher. So same question that we asked to Victor. What does success look like for Globe, and how do you measure it?
Well, we determine it in two ways. First, we look at the reach, where it's basically a matter of media value. If we reach the community that we want to, if we get all of those engagement metrics in, then it's a good approach. But definitely at the end of the day, you still have to look at what we do as a business, and we have to be able to determine what type of revenue comes in. We rarely sponsor activities that don't allow us to at least help drive the sales. From a brand perspective, when people approach us and we look at their proposals, we would always ask for the KPIs. We would also always ask for the metrics. How many people are going to watch this? How many people are we going to be engaging with? How many people are going to play? And from there, we determine if the media value that they're providing, whether through the whole marketing plan for the tournament goes, if it fits within our expectations, then it's a no-brainer. It's a very easy sell to us. So I guess that's also a tip to people who are wondering, what does it take to get a brand to sponsor me? You have to have clear KPIs. Don't just send proposals out there without a promise of a return to the companies, because at the end of the day, it's hard-earned money for the brands. And if you just say, oh, it's all flash, we have a celebrity coming in, we have this influencer there, you know, you can't promise anything. We still have to go by the KPIs and the metrics that we have to settle internally.
So you're I mean, I don't want to say old school in a negative way, but it's about the audience delivery, right? And that's how you're measured. And then ultimately, the more audience, the more sales you should be able to generate from it. Pelle mentioned we were talking about the idea of weaving the brand being useful. Have Globe been useful in any of their activations?
I'm sorry?
Have Globe been useful to the games that you support as a sponsor? Are you offering things to players and participants?
Well, I would certainly say so, because our product is very right there. We offer connectivity. Without the connectivity, the games fail. The experience of playing on a bad connection is something that people will always frown on. So as far as Globe is concerned, we really after providing everybody with the best gaming experience, not just on the strength of the network, but also in terms of what we're able to give them. Are we able to reward the customers with a pleasant experience? Are we able to reward them with let's say points that they can exchange for in-game items and what have you? We do not just approach sponsorships as just slapping our logo there. We definitely want a good interaction with our communities.
Fantastic. And then really, I guess the final question is how coming back on the publisher side where you're organizing your own content. So how important is sponsorship to Globe? Working with other brands.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very important because it basically allows us to boost business relations and the chance to network and then opportunity to activate. Whether it's in the form of offering our other business-to-business activities to brands or a direct engagement with our communities, it basically allows us to connect with an engaged audience. The idea of esports and games when it comes to having our own tournaments is that we basically have the opportunity to show our support to the communities, contribute to their development, and really create that perception of goodwill. It's not just about the money. We don't make these just so that we get the revenue. There's always that approach of doing goodwill because we really believe in creating a globe for good.
Fantastic. Well, Ralph, thank you again so much for joining. We're going to see you back in a minute when we have the three of you talking together. But thank you for your time and your insights. Up next, we have an old friend of ours, old being the wrong word, but Yusuf Batliwala. He's the Director of Rights Holder Management and Esports at SPORTFIVE, previously at Singtel, where we worked very closely on the wonderful Super Gamer Fest with 38 million viewers, which is probably the same number of people who are tuning into the session this morning, Yusuf. But for those of you've just moved over to the agency side from the platform side. So Yusuf, give us a little bit more information about what are you doing? What is SPORTFIVE doing in esports? What are you up to? And by the way, before you answer, anyone else out there, please we've got some questions coming in. Please get your questions in so I can ask everyone when they're together. But Yusuf, back to you. Who are you?
Thank you very much, Jasper, and hello, everyone. It's an amazing panel to be part of. So yes, I'm Yusuf Batliwala. I'm based out of Singapore, and I lead esports rights holder management partnerships for SPORTFIVE. SPORTFIVE is a leading sports and esports marketing agency. What it essentially means for esports side of thing that I work with publishers, esports teams, platforms, influencers, and we try and pick up the right assets for our brand partner where they can go and invest in this assets. We also have our in-house agency, Build a Rocket, which we recently acquired in Europe. So this agency helps brands with activation, campaign strategy, media planning, production, media by licensing. So we are trying to create a 360-degree solution for the brands where we start from consulting them on which assets to invest, for what content they can create during the tournaments that they are investing in, and all content strategy throughout the year working with the team. So that's the business model that we work on.
So you sit in the middle. You are right in the middle of the platform, or the publisher, the owner, the game's owner, the team, the rights holder, and the brands themselves. So give us some. Let's dig a little deeper on that. So which clients do you work for on what projects?
So the two panelists that we have on board, Mate and Globe, both are our clients, and we have been working with them on regular basis. But for the last couple of years, we have worked with more than 200 partnerships across globally, and we work for variety of brands. It can be endemic, non-endemic brands. I think I would like to say one of my favorite case study was created by our European colleagues. This was for SAP. So SAP, as you see, as a brand, is mainly like a B2B brand, but they wanted to enter into esports, and their main objective was to create that brand affinity or top of the brand awareness about their employment opportunity, because they feel that gamers were the right fit to join SAP and work for SAP. And because this project actually had all the elements that is required, from a partner's or an esport project. So it was an esports market entry. It was a publisher partnership, content creation, partnership with the team, and creation of a tool. So that's why this is like one of my favorite case study, which I always talk about. So what SAP did was they created this tool to show how data can be used creatively in esports, not only for the teams to evaluate data and improve their performance, but as a viewer also, a vast amount of historical and live data was analyzed on the spot using SAP cloud technology and was shared on screen live. So there was data before the event, during the event, and past event, and this created a new perspective about SAP for the gamers. They also partnered with a top team in Europe and helped them to increase the performance using the data. And I think overall that this created a very positive impact about the brand and employability opportunities for the brand. So I think this is one of my best example that I would give for esports.
Fantastic. And how do you see other brands activating within? Yeah, we were talking earlier on about being fun, being useful. How are you seeing brands really successfully activating within the gaming community?
So you need to, and that's how we help brands, right? So you need to first understand the DNA of the brand, what the brand objectives are, what they want to achieve from esports. As my earlier panelists also mentioned, you can't just slap the logo of the brand and then, because gamers are very smart, they know if it is the brand wants to connect with them, then you need to create content which relates to them. So like Victor mentioned earlier, you can't just play any commercial when you are working with the gamers or playing during the esports tournaments. It has to be related to the game title, to the lingo the gamers speak to. So the tactics have to change. The content has to be created especially for the gamers. You can't create your mass content which you have created for your digital audience or your linear channel audience. You need to specially design or customize the content targeting to the gamers. So the way we work is understand the brief, the objective, and what the brand want to achieve. Is it a long-term campaign? Is it a strategic campaign? Is it just a tactical product launch campaign? And then we do a lot of data analytics from our end on the back end. We have our team in-house tools, as well as we subscribe to external tools for data analysis. And we do a lot of strategy. After that, we create a strategy. And based on the strategy, we negotiate with the rights holder and then do the activation. So that's how we generally work.
Fantastic, and I guess that's into measuring success as well. I mean, it's interesting that we did a session on data last week and how important it is. What are your common success metrics? Where Ralph talks about the number of views, Victor was talking about number of sales. What do you measure? What do you tend to like around success?
Yep. So I think different based on the brand objective. So like Victor mentioned, for him, esports was just like getting more feedback from the gamers, and he created a product out of it. He didn't care about the number of people it was reaching. It was more about engaging with the audience and getting more feedback, right? And then there are your generic metrics like reach, viewership, engagement, which is very generic, which we get from all the event. But some of the brands want to deep dive further and want to know more about brand affinity. So we help them with those kind of studies as well. So depending on the brand overall strategy, what they want to achieve, and post the campaign, we try and give those reports accordingly. So it can be generic one, it can be more detailed with brand affinity study through third-party organizations. So yeah, that's how we try and measure the success.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, Yusuf. Now we're going to bring everyone, all three of you, back together now. And so we have Ralph, we have Yusuf, and hopefully Victor as well. Yes, there we go. We have everyone back here. So thank you guys for joining again and spending time with us today. Couple of questions. Are coming from the outside world. Now, at this point, I think we're going to ask you all to be brands rather than publishers. So question for Victor. From Mabel Yo from Tubular Labs, how do you decide which tournaments or games suit? Now, question, mate or mate? Because your answer is mate and you said mate. So so first question from me is it mate or mate? Second question is how do you decide which tournaments or games?
Yeah, so it's a very good question. Thanks for the questions, Jasper. It's all right. We started with at the beginning as mate. The reason being that the first product we've developed, the main ingredient at the base of this product is mate tea as a natural ingredient, which contains caffeine, has a high caffeine content, consumed in South America. So that was the main ingredient of the first initial original product. So that's how we came out with the name. So it's a repeated name, which creates the brand as such. So we've been using this name until last year. So when we entered on more mass market esports, we started diversifying our channels and audiences. Currently we are transiting into a more lifestyle brand and increasing the product range across different products of functional drinks, and not only, we have more plans. As we are not on direct linked only with the mate tea anymore, but we're developing a range of products, and as I mentioned, we want to go into metaverse and to capitalize on some blockchain technologies that are new and exciting. So the name, we decided to change it into mate, the pronunciation. It's always been, even when we, in the previous years, when we promoting it as mate, people always, especially in Australia, UK, everyone would pronounce mate, because it was, and we let it be.
Especially in Australia, of course.
Australia.
Yeah,
exactly. So we let it be this way because that also let people memorize the brand, which we find it very successful. So we let it be people to pronounce and not making a big deal out of it. Currently, officially would be a mate from moving forward. It has a little bit more lifestyle meaning, I would say, because the description, if you pronounce it in mate, it represents friendship, unconditional love, equality, bringing communities together. So it has a little bit a deeper meaning as a lifestyle brand or as a mass market global brand. So that's how it will be pronunciation. I'm sure there will be, even for me now, to transit from mate to Mate, it's pretty difficult. I'll be the last one to change, I think. Yeah. So
what do you look for in back to the sorry, that was a question in two parts, but from Mabel, how do you decide which tournaments or games suit mate the best?
Thanks, Mabel, for the question. Is currently we're still experimenting with a lot of partnerships in esports. So last year, so we quite new, and we started with very little knowledge in esports. So we trusted our partners, agency partners that we met last year, and we start cooperation with them. They are broadcasting agency based in LA, US, quite a big one. And we tested on Dota partnerships and events and championships. Then we realized, and we did some big ones. So we jumped into really TI10, and these are global events, which are quite large scale. And then we realized that it's very important that we take different markets individually also. So it's good to work with big events, global ones, but skimming down to different markets, it's also very important because there's a lot of localized games and events based in specific countries. Then you have the thing with the language. So there's a lot of, even if it's broadcasted, you would be limited to the language. If you do, for example, English broadcast, audience from maybe Japan, other countries would not understand. So you have to, or China, for instance. So it's very important that we keep our mind open and flexible to try different types of events at this time. But the most important, the two criteria we mostly choose when we work with agencies or events is the organizers, to make sure the team understands our brand. And we have a chemistry, a synergy that the team, the organizers, understands and understands our message towards the audience. And the other one, the criteria we look at, do they know their audience well? Because that's very important, how they're going to transfer brand message to the audience and the way back, and how they're going to, because again, we're not only going to go into events moving forward just to put the logo. We're going to put content, customers for the audience. So even like these commercials, there's some cool stuff coming out. It's very important that the agencies also understand how to use that content. Is it suitable? So currently, to answer your question quickly, we choose mostly, we start from the organizers to make sure their team, we have a good understanding, and they can transfer the message of our brand towards the audience. That's one. Secondly, we for example, currently in Singapore, we are part of a campus legend. It's a tournament that it's organized. So it's a between the campuses, university campuses in Singapore. This is fairly small scale event, but it's very, very important for us because it covers pretty much all the students in Singapore. Everyone would be somehow exposed to this event. So this is very valuable for us as well, to go to participate in big scale international events, and also a localized small scale between the universities in some countries. We might look also to invest in maybe have a long-term partnership with some team, or even venture in some esports team. So we have a lot of things going on. We might go even further, one step further in the esports space.
That's great. So I'm going to go to you, Ralph. A similar question. I mean, Victor was talking about what he looks for in a partner to work with, and kind of without mentioning the word marriage, talking about chemistry, synergies, knowing your audience. If I were a gamer, if I were a league, if I were a tournament and stuff, what do I need to show you to get us to work together?
Well, the reach and viewership metrics are one thing. I think this time I'd also like to highlight that the values of your tournament, of your organization, of your brand, all of those have to be congruent to Globe's approach. If let's say there's this, let's talk about streamers for this matter, because in terms of how many people ask us for sponsorships, there's a bunch of streamers out there who keep asking us to help them out. Some streamers are known to be controversial. That's how they get their viewership. So you get a tick right there on how many people will watch this person. But if this person is controversial and that's how he gets the views, it doesn't align with our values. So for us, it's not just about the numbers. It's not just about the metrics. You also have to understand what we're about, what Globe is about, what the company is about, what the brands are about. We also want the ability to drive conversations, to drive engagement. The easiest thing to do really would be to just slap the logo there. It's that simple. But for us, there is that element of authenticity and congruence. I use that term very specifically. I define that as authenticity as, what you see is what you get. Be real, be believable. But being congruent means what you see on the stream is the same thing as what you see in real life. There are a lot of brands there that's all flash in terms of how they present themselves. It doesn't necessarily come across as like that in real life. So we also look for that. We're very picky with who we sponsor, with who we accept as our partners, because it's not just a sponsorship for us; it's a partnership.
Good point. So Yusuf, to you on this, I'm going to slightly change this question, but how do you avoid the pitfalls? If I'm a gamer, a team, a tournament, how do I avoid getting it wrong when I'm talking to an agency like yourself?
So I think if you are a tournament organization or a team owner, I think I agree with both Victor and Ralph. Is your organization objective should match with what the brands want to do, and then yes, reach engagement metrics are very good to give those kind of after event. But I think what content you can create throughout the tournament for the brand, and how your viewers can relate with that brand. I think those are some of the important factors that either it's a tournament organizer, publisher, team owner, influencer, streamer, they need to take into consideration when they approach any of this brand, because at the end of the day, everybody wants a healthy relation and want to grow together. But if there is any unwanted controversy, nobody wants to be part of it. So I think so sometimes if you, I think Ralph gave the right example. You get the viewership number, everything right in place, but there's a lot of controversy happening, which is not useful at all.
And it's also it's something as well. I mean, it's important to listen. I've said this to a lot of people from various different backgrounds and different media and different verticals, but don't just go into a brand and say, "Here's what I'm going to sell you," and it's really good. And sometimes it's good to say, "So what are you looking for?" And sometimes it's even more powerful to say, "Hey, you know what? I don't have anything for you, but now I know what you want."
Yeah.
So. And that was some advice that was given to me a long time ago. Look, so we're running a little bit over time, but I've got a final question for the three of you. In fact, two questions for the three of you. The first one, this is the Gaming Matters Academy is to really help people get into or succeed or level up within the gaming industry. start with you, Victor. What advice would you give to anyone looking to get into the game? Now, I know that you're slightly on the outside as the brand coming in, but what advice would you give anyone trying to get into the gaming industry?
As a brand, if you're new in the industry, I think keep your mind open, I think, and flexible, because it's a huge space, and it's across different demographics and countries and games. So it's very important that you keep flexible. It's a long-term, definitely it's a long-term venture. It's not a fast result. For us also, we are doing tournaments. We have tens of millions sometimes. We had the TI10, I think we reached 100 million views of brand exposure, unique views. Unique views was in billions, I think. But that doesn't transfer immediately into a result. So it's a long-term game. You have to enjoy the process, I think is very important. Secondly, you have to also make sure you understand the audience, because it's very, again, different demographics, it's very diverse, the audience in gaming space. So if you come with like us, with an energy drink brand, you have to be able to invest, have patience, and also change your product and services accordingly to what the audience wants. Don't try to push things that you have or you like, because it's going to be very limited and very painful. And again, creating a good experience and bringing more fun, or the experience that brand would give to audience, it's more important than what you try to sell as a core product itself. It's an online space. People look for experience, visually, interactively, how you would present. It's very important. But I would recommend everyone to try it. It's a huge market and growing. We are pretty happy that we've started, and we're going to continue investing in the esports, in the education, different kind of sponsorships, partnerships, and trying to eventually, we have some plans to bring some benefits directly to the viewers and gamers worldwide. We have some good ideas on that.
Fantastic. So let me be the first person to pitch you sponsorship of the Gaming Matters Academy live at the Gaming Matters Academy. I listened. Yusuf, you've just swapped careers. I'm very aware of time, and I've got a production team screaming at me. You've just swapped careers. You've gone from the ownership side, the platform side, to the agency. What advice can you give quickly for people wanting to get into the gaming industry? What's the best way to do it?
Yeah, I think first of all, I would like to say you don't have to be a gamer to be part of the gaming industry. I think the most important thing is, if you are passionate and you believe in the story about gaming and esports growing, and if you are a hustler, I think this is the right time to enter the industry.
So hustle, Ralph. Rather than ask you the same question, I'm going to go into the final question here for all of you. Now, Victor, you mentioned that you're launching 7 brands, and we did get a question from 7 products, which is pretty exciting. Denise from Gamescom Asia says, what plans do you have for the upcoming launch? So if you can answer that very, very quickly, and then we're going to ask the final question to all of you, is what's really exciting for you right now? Because I assume that launching seven products is pretty exciting.
Yeah, so it will be not all the same time. So it will be spread across June, July. So that's how the product's going to come out, and we're gonna do an official some media announcements. And however, in the esports is going to go for the next couple of years, 2-3 years even. So this will be long-term venture. So there will be definitely more partnerships. You would see more partnerships in esports. Talking about esports, we have some other lifestyle events in Singapore, overseas, also some countries. But talking about esports, we will not launch all the same time. We will just do an official announcement because it's not only the 7 products. The brand would look differently. Jasper already, I think you saw that, right? the way.
Yeah, and I think I'd look great holding a can right now, wouldn't you? And it would drive a lot of sales. A lot.
So that
Ralph,
we'll make sure that will be part of our launching.
Fantastic.
You will see. Please
You got an endorser right there.
Well, no, so I'm going to employ Yusuf as my agent, and then we'll promote it on Globe. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how it works.
That's it. Deal done. That's how we do the deals.
I think the official drink for Gaming Matters is it. So Yusuf,
Sounds like a plan.
What's really exciting for Sport5?
I think overall for SPORTFIVE, the excitement is the growth in Southeast Asia that we are looking at, and especially in Singapore. Now, Singapore is like a hub of esports. We have the TI going to be happening in Singapore in October. So I think that's a very exciting space for us with events happening in Singapore last year. And this year, there are a lot of global tournaments, right from Munton and Riot Games holding the Wild Rift Icon series in July. TI, as I said. So all these are very exciting, I think, for the SPORTFIVE team, because we not only help them to sell sponsorship, but also see how we can do various activations on venue activation, digital activation for brands, for the publisher, etc. So quite exciting for us.
Ralph, final word goes to Globe in the Philippines. What is really exciting for Globe right now, other than being another new sponsor for the Gaming Masters Academy?
Well, for us, we actually launched our very own esports platform where we're building a lot of communities. People can play tournaments against each other. We are basically looking at automating esports and opening up esports for everybody. So you don't have to wait for the big ones. You can actually play small scale tournaments, including challenges for games that aren't esports for that matter, like King of the Hill type of challenges, influencer challenges. So that's something that we launched. It's called Globe Gamer Grounds, and it's in partnership with Swarmio Media.
Fantastic. Well, exciting times indeed, and thank you so much to the three of you for your time today. We talked about so many things. We talked about the partnership, the marriage between brands and esports. We talked about aligning values. We talked about synergy, making sure there's a synergy in chemistry, because you're connecting with this amazing, huge, engaged audience. But you need to have clear KPIs. If you're coming to try and promote your product to a brand, if you're the owner, the gamer, the team, whatever, you need to have clear KPIs and be willing to back them. And so, but the final thing there was, I can't remember who said, but all of you, no, Victor, you said it. Everyone should get into gaming. So what a great way to end that. Victor, Ralph, and Yusuf, thank you so much for joining us at the Gaming Managers Academy, supported by Twitch, Singtel, Global Esports Federation, and Globe Telecom, mate, and Sport5. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Up next this afternoon. I'm sorry I have to rush because this is going to literally get shut down in 4 minutes. We have Gemma Battenbow, who's the Asia Pacific lead for Brand Partnership Studio at Twitch. And she's going to be joined by Deborah Sim, who is a content creator and streamer who's better known as, or probably better known in the gaming world as, Wolfsbane. So thank you again to Pelle, Victor, Ralph, Yusuf, to Twitch, to Singtel, to Globe, to the Global Esports Federation and Globe. And thank you for all of you for tuning in. As ever, please get me your feedback. What can we add? What can we change? What can we do differently? Always good to hear. So thank you very much indeed for everyone for joining us today. We'll see you later this afternoon.